Welcome back, everybody. This is the NASCAR 1-Up Retro round number 13 out of 40. We're north of the border this week at Canadian Motorsports Park, the former F1 venue turned NASCAR Speedway. I'm alongside Duke Anzac for today's race, and with the return to the road courses, pit strategy wouldn't be as big an issue. They can all make it to the end on one tank of gas. But still, with the difficulties of a road course, being able to pass and being able to maneuver your way around other cars in a tight space, it's going to be tough for the drivers at the back of the field to navigate their way to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of passing zones and a lot of very high speed sections on this course. So it's going to be a lot of shifting today. It's going to be a lot of right hand turns, which is not something we see all that often, and it's going to be a lot of fun too.
With with the slowest passing zone in the whole track being the famous hairpin up in the north section of the speedway, followed by the famous Andretti straightaway, where cars can reach top gear before having to slow down again. It provides plenty of opportunities for cars to show off their handling power and their top speed. So what do you think is going to be a bigger difference today, speed or handling?
I think it's going to be a lot of handling today because the speed is going to help you on the ends of the straightaways, but if you can't get through the corners, you're not going to be able to pass anybody.
With group qualifying taking place the other day, a first for the NASCAR 1-Up Retro Cup Series, I can give you the starting lineup. Every single driver that went out in the second group put the fastest times on the board, and they will start in positions 1 through 8, led by Jack Porkins in the 16 Ford, and alongside him, Peter Onjak in the number 70 raced his way in, as did Corbett and Fitzwater, starting 3rd and 5th respectively. Of those top 8, what do you think we should keep an eye on as far as drivers? You see, we got Martin in there, the points leader. We've got Ricky Freeman Jr. in there. Who do you think we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be keeping my eye on our pole sitter, Porkins, because he's shown a lot of speed throughout this season so far, and I think that this is going to be a good track for him.
He led the most laps at Auto Club Speedway, but did not get the win that day. So can he manage to get his first win of the season today? We're about to find out. Sit tight in your seat, get ready, because we're about to go road course racing in just a moment. And the pace car's already pulled down pit road. We've got Jack Porkins and Peter Onjak leading us to the green flag, which is already in the air. We are racing at Canadian Motorsports Park. They're side by side hanging into turn 1. Who's going to get the advantage? It looks like Jack Porkins coming out of 1, who's going to have a pretty solid lead in hand.
Yeah, he's got the preferred line coming through that turn, and now he's home free, clear on all sides, coming through the next set of corners here.
But Onjak and Corbett are still hot on his heels. They kick up a little dirt going wide as Porkins leads the field through the corner, but Onjak's hot on his heels trying to take the lead away. Onjak's had some very strong runs this season in the races he's attempted, but no wins yet. Could that change today as they head up into the hairpin for the first time?
Yeah, and this is a very high speed area that gets very slow very quickly, and they're coming through here. Man, that is a tight couple of corners right there, and there's one wide pass for a second maybe coming up here.
Running very wide, a bunch of cars going off there as Corbett gets side by side with Peter Onjak as Porkins just starts to pull away even further. He's got about a second's gap already with not even a lap completed yet as Corbett and Onjak battle side by side for second, and Porkins leads the way through the final set of corners to complete lap number 1.
Yeah, he's really pulling away. This section right here is a bit of a technical section of the course, and a lot of people might slide off as we had seen in the beginning part of this. It's just a matter of cold tires, I believe, and maybe some nerves in the beginning of this thing.
Don't know if you saw at the top of the screen, but there were problems for our second place car, Peter Onjak. He pulled his way down the pit lane at the start. This is not scheduled for the 70. There he is, but something must have happened, either a flat tire on the start or a mechanical issue setting in early. Tough break, though, for the 70. He's got a big hole to dig himself out of right now.
Yeah, he slid coming out of that corner, and maybe it wasn't much of a slide, and it was more of a, I've got a problem, and I'm getting out of the way move. So that's an unfortunate break.
Yeah, he's still got 29 laps to make his way up, but it's going to be tough. Good news is he's got all that track to himself. He can click off some fast laps, especially on fresh tires, as Porkins leads the way down the long Andretti straightaway. He's got a 1.5 second lead over Kyle Corbett and John Martin, who settled into 3rd place.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they're just going to try to settle into their grooves here. Now, it's going to be a long race coming up, and you don't really want to be racing and wasting your stuff too soon because there isn't going to be a pit stop today. So,
With Ricky Freeman Jr. trying to hold off Jeffrey Finguy and Jack Halleck behind the live camera here, we can see Hunter and Melee battle for 10th position. Miles Mashburn in 12th, and Andres Molina, who's had a good qualifying effort to make the field. He's missed the field the last few tries, so good to see the Tide ride back in the field again as we make our way back up for the field and focus on the battles for position within the top 10.
yeah, and absolutely, it's also good to see a lot of those guys that had to qualify into the race up front right now. Come running in the top 10 here. This is a unique track for these guys, as you know, we're mainly ovals in this series, so it's a good opportunity for people to show the speed that maybe they haven't had at most of the other tracks we've been to.
And as we pull up to the back to the lead, you can see Jeff Porkins has pulled away quite a big lead. You can see it looking from in front of his car, looking back to the green dot on the top of your screen of Kyle Corbett, who is about 1 3/4 seconds down to the lead as we make our way through lap number 4 up the hill and down into turn 2.
Yeah, and this is just going to be a test of endurance, I believe, for Porkins here as he gets through the grass a little bit right there. It's just going to be a matter of seeing if he can make it to the end and maintain that gap without wasting his stuff. And it's going to be an interesting race here. I think that the 42 might have something for him before it's all over.
Yes, and as you can see, starting to close in, but Martin and Fitzwater running 3rd and 4th, they have something to say about it as well, as they run a little wide through the hairpin, but that's fine. They're back on through the rumble strips, and they're back on the gas down the long Andretti straightaway as they chase Kyle Corbett, who's got a pretty good gap over 3rd place right now, but Corbett needs to worry about that blue and yellow Ford right in front of him that's getting smaller and smaller as Porkins just drives away from everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. That Porkins machine looks pretty good right now. And of course it's only coming on to lap 5 here, but for now at least, Porkins is quite a ways ahead. Now as we see the update, it's more than 2 seconds ahead.
2.3 seconds now up on Kyle Corbett, but John Martin's not that far behind, the points leader. He's been aching for a victory these first 12 races. He's come close many times, none more so than at North Wilkesboro last time. He dominated that race, but came just short in that race. He's looking for redemption here as we see Ricky Freeman Jr. go wide through the grass, trying to overtake the 59 of Fitzwater in 4th.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of overtaking going on right now. I think that it's mainly because it's so early still, and a lot of people are still just getting their handle on this course. It's a tough course to really get a grasp on and find a rhythm. So we might have something coming up here though.
Yes, because if there's one driver who we know will make a lot of passes very quickly, that's Ricky Freeman Jr. in that white, yellow, and purple number 56. He's hungry for he's already in the top 5, but he wants one more spot, getting under Fitzwater and then 50 in the Wilson Security Dodge. But it looks like Fitzwater is going to be able to hold him off for now as Porkins just draws further and further away.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of these drivers are using those asphalt patches in the corners that are a little bit newer asphalt. They have a little bit more grip, and they're kind of riding those through the corners. Just instead of cutting all the way low, it might be a little bit faster up there.
And as expected, Jack Porkins currently holds the fastest lap of the race. He is the race leader, so he's got clean air in front of him to click off fast times. The 1:18.08, that is the fastest time so far. 1:18.03, my apologies. As we look back through the rest of the field, going down through the order, you can see Peter Onjak struggling to make up time in that 70 car. He's still in last place, but it looks 40 seconds back, but it looks like we've got problems further back with the 24. Yeah. There he is.
Damage too.
He's got plenty of damage on the 24, and this might bring out I think this has brought out the caution flag at lap number 6. Yes, it has. Lights are on the pace car, so they're going to race back to the line Tough break for the 24. I don't know what happened. We'll find a replay here shortly to find what happened. But Porkins is going to lead him back to the yellow flag, and we will find out what happened to the 40. So here's the 24. He's running in about the 22nd place, and he just starts to slow dramatically down the straightaway. He's got Caggiano trapped behind him, nowhere for the 30 to go. And he's just trying to get out of the way, but there's no space for him. And he just makes contact with the 71 of Carter. And the 24 just slides off track. You see
a bunch of people through the sand there.
Through Herman and Blair trying to get through the sand, and the 24s are trying to back out of that sand trap. It's pretty difficult to get out of those things. He's just trying to avoid having to get a rollback to tow him back to the pit lane. Tough break for the 24 as you see Anjak get by. He was just barely avoids that. But that's what's put us under our first caution of the day at lap number 7, and it is the 24 that's involved. As you see, the field go through the hairpin once again. I believe that's the hairpin. Yes, it is. As Jack Porkins bunches up the field behind him. This was a welcome sign for Kyle Corbett and for John Martin. They now have a fresh chance to gain on Jack Porkins with Zachary Fitzwater still in 4th. And Ricky Freeman Jr., still in 5th position. I was going to say Jeffrey Finn guy, but he hasn't made that pass quite yet. But this field is still tightly bunched together. It's still anyone's game. We're only at lap 7 of 31. We're about a quarter way there.
Yeah, and with these tires warm now, this is going to be an interesting restart here, I think.
We're not going to see anybody on pit road. The tires are still in their prime. We're only on lap 7. So this restart order you see right here, that's what's going to be the restart for the race. It's going to be Porkins, Corbett, Martin, Fitzwater, and Freeman, the top 5. As you look down the rest of the grid briefly, you can see Finguy in 6th. You can see Halleck in 7th, Ortiz 8th, and you see the 3 in 9th, and then Stephen Hunter in the 51 in 10th position. That is going to be a restart order when we come to the restart zone to take the green flag, which hopefully is not going to be too much longer from now. And the lights are out now on the pace car, which means we are going green this time by in the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park round of the season. As now we have a solid foundation for the restart. We've got Porkins in front. We've got Corbett in 2nd, as you see the skids left over from the 24's excursion into the sand. But we've got Porkins, Corbett, Martin, Fitzwater, and Freeman, your top 5. As we head through the final set of corners, the pace car is about to head to pit road, and we're about to get this thing restarted.
Yeah, this is going to be an entertaining restart. I'm excited to see what the 42 can do with the 16 now that he's right up in front of him.
And the green flag's out, and we're back underway already at lap number 9. And the field's starting to string out. We've got some action down at the back of the pack as Finguy's trying to get under Freeman right away.
Yeah, they're too wide back there for 5th. It looks like there's a couple of good runs coming from the 2 behind the leader as well. Watching this battle.
As we kick up some dirt, that's going to be expected every time we go through that corner. Someone's going to. As Finguy's going to try and make the move on Freeman, he's going to be able to pull it off here. With Jack Halleck's hot on their heels trying to get around, trying to bust his way through this field to try and take the lead for himself as the top 4 run single file now through the hairpin.
Yeah, this will be tight coming through the corner, too wide.
But they all make it stick. Halleck with 2 wheels off into the grass, and that's going to allow Ortiz to get side by side with him. And it looks like the 91's going to take that spot away from Halleck going down the long straightaway. Going off in the grass at the hairpin just kills your momentum going down the straightaway, and that's where you need it most before you head into the braking zone right about here.
Yeah, and there was almost contact coming down the straightaway right there. But it's gonna prove to be good for the 92 and not quite so good for the 56s. 56 is going to lose another spot to the 91.
That 91 is on a charge. He's restarted in 8th, and he's already going to challenge for 6th place after just 1 lap completed on this restart. So Ortiz has really got a fast car under him, but can he get gain on the top, top 6 now? As Finguy got past Freeman to move up into the top 5. That's a battle for 6th place.
Yeah, and the 91 has the preferred position. He's able to hold it on the outside in those few corners where he doesn't have the preferred line. But this is going to be interesting. If he can keep it on the right side, right here through the hairpin, he's probably going to gain this position.
Meanwhile, back up front, the Porkins has not been able to pull away this time. As I say that, he starts to pull away as we go through with Corbett and with Martin. They're going to go side by side here for a moment, but Corbett's just going to be able to hold him off as Porkins starts to build a bit of a lead once again. It's always on that straightaway where you can both build time and lose time as we go through the corner once again, and we will complete lap number 10. We'll be about a third of the way through this race.
Yeah, and that's just some corner exit speed that the 16 car really has nailed on this run right here. I think that what might be happening is he's backing up the entry of his corners, so he's letting off the gas earlier, and he's slower on the entry, but he's allowed to rip it off the corner, and he's really carrying a lot of momentum down the straightaways.
I tell you what, I think Martin's actually got a faster car than Corbett, but he just can't get around him that well as we look down through the rest of the field. But we could see that Porkins still has the fastest lap point of the race as we see something happen to the 50. I'm not sure what happened there, but she's still, Alexa Lutchen, she's still going in 42nd place. She's got time to make it up, and she could catch a caution like Peter Onjak did and make time up that way. She's about 8 seconds off the 41st place car, but that's not impossible to make up, especially if we go green the rest of the way. She'll be back.
Yeah, she's absolutely fast, and she's a contender for the rest of this season. But unfortunately, this race probably hasn't gone exactly how she planned it to.
Meanwhile, we're back up front. Jack Porkins builds about a 1.5 second lead on Kyle Corbett as we see the battle. Looks like a battle raging for 7th position as Jack Halleck goes underneath Ricky Freeman Jr. Freeman's dropped a little bit since the restart.
Yeah.
He's lost positions to Finguy and Ortiz, and he just lost another one to Jack Halleck. Something's amiss on that 56 car, and I'm not sure what.
Yeah, well, he started to get past real good on the restart there, and after all that, I think that maybe running on the outside so much, he used up his tires a little bit, and that just was the end of the freshness of those things. So
further battles side by side, you see the number 3 battling with the 44 of Chris Maley. That's just outside the top 10 in 11th position with Mashburn and Molina and Braden Saul. Good job for him to have made the show. He's missed the last 2 races. Good to see him back in the series. But they're going single. That 3 car looks to really be bunching them up back there, or maybe it's Maley. One of them is holding up that pack, because look at that train of cars building behind them. They've got Maley, Mashburn, Molina, Johnson. They've got everybody back there.
Yeah, and that's just a side effect of a lot of space that you can't really make passes in, and a car that is just good enough and just wide enough that you can't really get by him. So it stacks everybody up behind him, even though all those cars behind are a little bit faster.
Ricky Freeman Jr. continues to lose ground as now he's got Stephen Hunter all over the back of him. That's for 8th position. Hunter's had a very good season despite missing the Daytona 500, but he's all the way up in the top 5 in points despite missing the 500, and he's got a fast car here today. He's trying to get around Freeman here for 8th.
Yeah, and Freeman, who has those worn tires now, trying to just hold on to any spots that he can at this point.
We've got another battle side by side. Jeffrey Finguy trying to hold off Nick Ortiz, going through the grass. That's just a side effect of hard racing at Canadian Tire. They've swapped lanes now as Ortiz goes down the inside of Finguy. Ortiz is going to have the preferred line going down into the hairpin. However, Finguy's going to be... Nope, he couldn't keep it. Finguy clears him going through that corner and up into the hairpin they go. He might be able to pick it up as they go on to the straightaway here if Finguy runs off, which he did a little bit, but don't think it's going to be enough. Finguy's going to be clear as we've got a battle for 2nd now.
Oh boy. Now that 26, that is a fast race car right there, and this is a long time coming passing that 42 for 26 here.
That 26 has shown speed each and every week but he's yet to pull into victory lane, as now Fitzwater's going to try and sneak by as well in the battle for third now. Corbett's going to drop 2 spots in about 2 corners, as now he drops to 4th position. He's still going, though, but now it's John Martin and Zach Fitzwater who are leading the charge against Jack Porkins, who's built on an almost 3-second lead.
Yeah, we'll see if that 26 car can do anything more than the 42 was doing with that gap right there. I think he might be able to, and we'll just have to see as they cross the line in the coming laps how that gap changes.
Meanwhile, further back, you can see Ortiz trying to gather it back up, trying to go after Finguy once again. It's tough to regain momentum here, but it can be done, especially if you get a good launch out of the hairpin, which they're coming up on right now, going down the hill and up into the hairpin zone. Tough to navigate, but if you can navigate it like Fitzwater did right there, not quite go into the grass, but just hit that rumble strip, you'll be able to get a good launch going up the hill down the long Andretti straightaway.
Yeah, that's gonna be key, especially coming to the late laps. If there's a tight battle that you want to get, if you can get a good launch off of these corners, you're gonna be able to beat them by the end of the straightaway, and then have the preferred lane going into those tight, slow corners where you can make passes.
Especially that hairpin, which is dangerous to navigate, but if you can pull it off well, you can definitely gain time. As we go on board for a lap around Canadian Tire with Jeffrey Finguy. Take us through a lap. Tell us what you see here.
Yeah, so this is a corner that you're going to want to be on, about half throttle coming through. Here we come into turn 2. This is going downhill, so you don't want to touch the throttle at all because it'll spin you right out. You're going to smash it coming into this part where it evens back out because you're getting a lot of downforce right there. Your car is shoving into the ground. Coming through here, it's like a carousel corner, a little bit synonymous with the carousel at Watkins Glen almost, coming through there. And this is high speed coming through here. Again, off the throttle because you're going downhill and then straight into this tight hairpin. It's a double apex hairpin right here. And you can gain a lot on those guys, but you don't want to gain too much because you'll knock whoever you're following and yourself off the track. And then this is full throttle all the way down. A great place to draft this Andretti straightaway on the back of the course here. You're going to probably hit the rev limiter coming up through here and go uphill. And then right at about the bridge, you're going to want to start hitting that brake coming through these S's. A little bit like the Watkins Glen S's, actually. Just like the carousel coming back through here. And then this is the zone of the bump and run on the final lap. Lots of times you get the bump and run coming through that final corner for the win there. And then that's a lap around Canadian Tire.
Wonderful explanation as we've watched Jeffrey Finguy try and close in on Kyle Corbett for position. As we look back through the field, you can see Seth Taylor in the top 10 having a pretty good run after what he did at North Wilkesboro. This is just backing up what he did there. As we look back outside the top 10, you see Dale Johnson in his second career start, running ahead of Jordan Presto in the 66 and ahead of Andres Molina in the 23. Good to see him back in the series. He's a good road racer, too, so this isn't a surprise to see him running up in the top 15.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always a little bit scary seeing that dirt coming off of the corner right there. But it's just the line that they run. It doesn't really impact the speed of the cars or the grip. You're only in the grass for just a moment there, so nothing to worry about. Here comes the 12 with the move going onto the straightaway.
Yeah, Ben McDonald had to move on Braden Saul because Saul got himself stuck in the sand trap a little bit going through the hairpin, but he's going to be able to pull away from McDonald. A good run for Braden Saul. He like Molina, he's missed the last 2 races, so good run for him. As we look through the rest of the field, we see King, we see Honcho, we see Joshua Michaels racing with Arthur Xavier, who scored a 3rd at Monza, so he's got a good road course racing regimen. As you see Bobo Jones and Justin Hutchinson are 2 front runners early in the season battling it out outside the top 20, as Jacob Johnson, after his run at Monza, he definitely needs to make up ground on road courses. Henry Thomas, Josh Drake, and the rest of the field comes blasting down the front straightaway. You can see the St. Petersburg winner, Richard Herman, having a bit of an off day. You can see Steven Gale, Lane Sanders, the Rockingham winner. You see the 75. Peter Onjak in the 70s actually caught up to the back of the pack, and he's made some passes. He's still in like 37th, 38th place, but he's made some passes going through that corner as they dive into that smoke cloud there, that dust cloud. But It's a good run for Onjak to make his way back up through the field. As you see, Blair and Atkins right behind them. They've not had the runs they want to have. Cal Farrell back there in the 96, and then Ace in the 24, still trying to recover from that crash early on. That's your field summary for this race. And with Lutchen not that far behind, she's gaining on them, like we said earlier. So, and especially considering how slow that 24 car is, it won't be long till she's back up to the back bumper of the field as she's gaining on them down the long straightaway.
Yeah, that's again, that's a tough break for her, but being in the back, maybe have a little bit of mental time going on when you're just driving out there by yourself. But meanwhile, we've got this 26 car who is running down the 16 of Porkins for the lead here. This is about to be entertaining.
It's down to 3/4 of a second now as Martin has reeled in Jack Porkins, going through lap 18 of 31. We're about halfway through, so if there's anything Porkins has left to give, he's got to give it now as Martin is closing in on trying to take the lead away. Martin needs a win to redeem himself. He's got a good points lead already as they almost had it, but not quite, as Porkins leads the charge off the hairpin down the long straightaway. Tough break, but he almost had it, and that's as close to Porkins as we've seen anybody get this race.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle because the 26 car is definitely faster, and he caught him, but catching him and passing him are two very, very different challenges. So see if he can do it through the S's here.
Definitely true, as Porkins has the preferred line. He's got clean air in front of him, but Martin's got just about a nose under him, but he's not going to be able to pull it off as we go into lap 19. It's down to just 0.2 of a second, and don't look now, but Fitzwater's still back there, and he's got a fast car too, closing in on the back bumper of these guys. This could be a 3-car battle before long.
Yeah, and especially if the 26 and the 16, if they get side by side and they get racing each other a little bit, the 59 and maybe even the 42 will catch right up to them. So this is a battle we've got on our hands here.
If Porkins was saving his stuff in the early goings, he's got to use it all right here as they go through the S's, down into the pit of the racetrack, up into the hairpin we go again, with Porkins having the preferred line. Martin going to try and sneak down the inside, not going to be able to make it happen as he gets a little loose coming off the hairpin. That's so easy to do, though, as we see Martin and Porkins in the 2 Fords battle it out, and Fitzwater is closing in, so we may have a 3-car battle for long, as we see a battle for 5th position starting to brew, with Nick Ortiz trying to take it from Jeffrey Finguy.
Yeah, and Nick Ortiz has a bad fast car right now. This 91 car, I would not be surprised to see that bad boy up there running for the lead soon in this thing, because he's been on a tear.
Yeah, the Western Mass Camry's looking really good right now, but it's still making his way up through the field as he's up to 5th place now, but he's still about 4.5 seconds behind this battle for the lead, which is starting to turn into a 3-car battle as Zachary Fitzwater is still charging his way up through the field behind John Martin and race leader Jack Porkins.
Yeah, and it's all going to depend on when Martin gets those runs out of the corner. It's gonna, you're gonna want to have to let off early in the corner, earlier than Porkins is, so that you can launch off the exit and try to get beside him in the straightaway, so that you can at least have a little bit of a nudge going through the corner, a little bit of an inch on him.
They both run wide through the corner. They both run wide, and look at that. That's brought the 59 of Fitzwater right there. They're all running in a straight line. 1, 2, 3. They head down the long straightaway. This is the battle we've been wanting to see. We've wanted to see John Martin battling for wins all season long. He's been doing that for us, and that's why he's the points leader, because he's got a pretty big points lead right now. But he would be willing to trade probably about half of those good points days into a win, which he could get right here.
Yeah, and he's so hungry for a win, and his car makes me hungry for a chocolate bar. I'll tell you that much. But it's all about consistency, especially throughout the season for the points lead. That's all consistency with no wins. But even at this track alone, you want to be consistent through all of the corners so that you can just have that aura. You can keep your speed through the whole track, and you can get your rhythm, and then once you catch a guy, you can just get under him and pass him.
And that's what Fitzwater's hoping can happen because he's hungry for a win too. But he's not been in the series as long as Martin has. Martin is in desperate need of a win to keep that points lead secure. And with his closest championship rivals deep in the field, this could be a big day for him to expand his points lead. As they all go wide, they all run into the grass, going off the hairpin. That's not going to slow any of them down in retrospect to each other. However, it could draw Kyle Corbett into the picture too, as he's gained about a half a second on the top three as they run through the corner down into the final set of S's, and we will complete lap 21 of 31. We are getting close to the end of this thing, and what a battle we're getting right here.
Yeah, and that just shows how hard these guys are driving and how hard they're trying to pass each other, because they're all sliding up through the corners, and they're right on the edge of grip and control of these cars around this track. So it's entertaining for sure.
Absolutely. As Porkins starts to pull away a little bit, we're looking back now at the battle for 7th position. Stephen Hunter's got around Jack Halleck and Ricky Freeman Jr. Freeman has stabilized himself at now about in the 9th position after dropping back earlier in the race. He's found his home in 9th place now, trying to hold off Seth Taylor in the 32. But that's a 5-car battle for 7th as well, as Nick Ortiz pulls away from that battle, trying to recatch Jeffrey Finguy, and Porkins still holds the fastest lap of the race. Not a surprise considering how fast he's been keeping that lead.
Yeah, how fast and how dominant that race car has been up until recently. And it's not like anybody's been able to pass him. They've been able to catch him, but they can't quite get past. So he's got a fast car, and it's a wide one, too.
One other fast car in the field is that Amazon Ford of Stephen Hunter. He's got quite a horse under him as well, trying to get around Nick Ortiz. But back to the battle for the lead. It's still Porkins in first, Martin in second. Fitzwater's fallen off just a little bit. Hopefully he can get back up there as we're closing in on less than 10 laps to go in this race. This is going to get real interesting here in the final few laps.
Yeah, I don't know if I expect a bump and run quite yet, but I don't know if I'd rule it out either, because these guys are getting antsy. You know, it's only so long you can handle being right up behind somebody and looking at their rear bumper for so long, and I'm sure the 26 is real tired of seeing the blue and yellow of that 16 car.
We've seen many times that Canadian Tire bumps on the final corner send the finish into chaos. We've seen it among teammates even. We've seen it among best of friends. We've seen people wreck each other for the win, and we may see it again here today as John Martin tries to get by Jack Porkins. He's gonna probably not be able to do it this time. Porkins has got a pretty good lead now, but I wouldn't be surprised if Martin pulls something out of his hat here in a few laps, because he is very fast and very hungry for a win.
Yeah, and another thing is that he's got the draft, so he's able to maybe right now he's saving his stuff, letting his tires cool off a little bit, so that he can go back up there and maybe get some of it. Well, we have a battle for fourth
position. Kyle Corbett trying to hold off Jeffrey Finguy. Finguy's had a pretty good season. He's got to win at Martinsville, and he's just going to pinch off Kyle Corbett to take that position. Remember, Finguy so close to a victory at Monza, but came up just a little short. So he's a very good road racer, and with about 7 laps to go, it may be too little too late to gain on the top 3, but expect Finguy to give it his all, trying to catch up to a potential win here at Canadian Tire.
Yeah, and here comes Ortiz again. That car is so fast, and he's trying to get around that 42 now. Unfortunately, that 42 car has fallen off quite a bit since he got past.
He's not had a good long-run car. He's dropped back from 2nd in the early stages to 5th later on. So he's not had a good long-run car as he's stacking up Ortiz and Hunter right behind him. But they both run wide into the grass, and that's let Stephen Hunter by Ortiz, and he's probably going to try and get by Corbett as well. This is quite a good run from this 51, and a well-needed one to cement his position in the top 12 heading into the later stages of the regular season.
Yeah, this is going to be a good run for the 51 here, as he's got the inside lane for this corner. If he can hold he can hold that lane. Oh, was there a little bit of contact?
If there wasn't, it was oh so close. As Corbett seems to be holding these guys up a little bit. As now we head back to the front of the field, where it's once again a 3-car battle for the lead between Porkins, Martin, and Fitzwater in the 59. Ford, Dodge, 1, 2, 3. And this is going to be a big day for Ford in the manufacturer standings if they can hang on for a 1-2 finish here today.
Yeah, and it is absolutely time for these guys to turn up the heat, racing for the win here, because it's getting down to the wire. So if you're going to make a move, you want to make it sooner than later, I'd say.
Closing in on 6 laps to go now, going into the hairpin. Martin's right there. He's got a good, if he can get a good corner on him, but it doesn't look like he can.
Coming to the bottom.
Fitzwater got a better launch off the corner than either Porkins or Martin did, and now Fitzwater's going to try and make a move for second place down the long Andretti straightaway. But I don't know if he's going to be able to make it stick, because Martin's just got that fast of a car down the straightaways. I think that's where he's better than Jack Porkins, is down that long straightaway. If he can get the momentum off the hairpin, watch out for him right there.
Yeah, these three are racing so close to each other. It's like every corner they come off at the corner, and I'm thinking that they're going to all stack up and hit each other. It's just wild how close they're running.
All 3 of them within half a second as we head down to 5 laps to go in this race. It's still anybody's game. It's still anybody's race. However, with Porkins and Martin racing so furiously, it's allowing Jeffrey Finguy to close in. He's now only 3 1/3 seconds back, and Finguy could be a factor in this race. You see him back there in the red car. He's going to close in, but I don't know if he's going to be able to catch him unless these 3 have some sort of contact here, which very well could happen.
Yeah, we've seen contact before. Once they get side by side, it's all hell breaks loose, I believe. So
here we go.
Man, they're both gonna run wide.
Actually, it was just Porkins that time, and it looks like Martin's got a good run on him, but Porkins just has that launch up. He's got the corner exit speed. Martin's got the straightaway speed, but Porkins has the good launch off the corner. I don't know if Martin's going to be able to get by him. Porkins could make this a flag-to-flag victory here if Martin doesn't get a move on here, because that's a very fast car. But I think Porkins is just trying to make that car as wide as he can, trying to make these final few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Using lessons learned from Ryan Newman, I believe, of making that car wide. It's we'll see here. That 92 car is coming, because these guys are racing hard, and the 92 has got an open track ahead of him. So.
Finguy gained a full second that lap. He's flying through this course, trying to gain ground on the top 3, and he may have taken fastest lap too. We'll have to check that later. And notice how he didn't go through the grass that corner. He's finessing this track, and that's what you need here, is a lot of finesse to get around these tracks. And you may see Finguy gain ground. I don't think it's going to be a race-winning move, but I think it's definitely going to get him up a spot or 2.
Yeah, and especially if these guys start to bump into each other.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Martin's got it. Martin's got him this time. He got the run off the corner down the long Andretti straightaway, and Martin, you see him just pulling, inching away, and John Martin finally takes the lead from Jack Porkins. We've got our first lead change of the day, and it comes on lap 27. We've only got 4 laps to go. The question is now, can Porkins get him back before this race is over?
Yeah, that was long awaited for the 26. I think that he's going to try his best now to try to pull away from that 16 car, because if he can do that, then he's got it in the bag.
Ran a little wide.
A little wide there, yeah.
A little wide through the final corner, but that should be all right, because he just needs to. He doesn't need a dominating victory. He just needs enough, even if it's by 1,000th of a second. Any victory is a victory in his book.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. The 16, if the 16 can get up next to him, though, I have a feeling maybe he'll learn a little bit from seeing the 26 drive around this place, and maybe he'll be able to give him a taste of his own medicine through that hairpin with the dive.
Could be, as we see him go down the hill up into the hairpin once again. We got about 4 laps of racing to go, as we see the 26 and he runs wide again, but so does Porkins. And, Martin ran off a little bit, and but Porkins can't get get that corner exit. He's so good at the corner exit, but he couldn't get it that time. As we see Jeffrey Fingay reeling them in from behind. Fingay's going to make this a 4-car battle before long. This is quite a race.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think that the race-winning move is going to happen out of the hairpin right there. It's just going to depend on who can get the best exit on these next couple laps here, and whoever can get below and then go side by side down the straightaway. That's going to be the key. Just like the 26 took the lead.
It may have already, that race-winning move may have already happened in the hairpin if Martin can pull away. But now Fitzwater's right on the bumper of Porkins trying to take second away. And look there's Jeffrey Fingay. He's cut it down another second. And there's Corbett and Hunter. They're starting to close in as well. This may be a 6-car battle if we're not careful here in the final 3 laps. This is quite a showing.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm starting to wonder, maybe that 16 car burnt up his stuff because he was running real hard for a while there, and now he's starting to fall back a little bit. So he might just have some hot tires and not much grip. We'll see here.
As we look down through the rest of the grid, Fitzwater's making a move. As we can see the battle further down the field, you can see if you looked on the top left of your screen, you saw Lutchen actually caught the back of the field, and she's passed 2 cars already. So we were right. She did make a charge, and she's running pretty well. But I don't think she's got anything for these 4 cars. And look at Fingay right on the bumper of Fitzwater.
Oh my goodness.
That 92 car is bad fast.
This is incredible right now. 4 cars under a blanket here coming to the closing laps at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I don't know what else you could ask for in this series, but this is fantastic.
It could be 5 cars, as you see. It could be 7 cars, as you see Corbett and Ortiz back there as well. This is going to be quite a battle for victory here. If Martin can hold him off, that'll be quite a victory. Porkins dominated this race, but he isn't leading where it matters right now as they're going through the first set of S's here. As Fingay tries to get around Fitzwater, not going to be able to make it happen. Fitzwater trying to get around Porkins, it could happen, coming through this hairpin.
Yeah, and that Porkins got real close coming through those final corners on the last lap, so we'll see if maybe he can make something like that happen again. This could be a big move here, though. For the 59, it is.
Absolutely, as we see Fitzwater trying to get under Jack Porkins for second place, and it looks like he'll be able to, similar to what we saw Martin do. And if he's not careful, he might lose third place to Jeffrey Fingay as well. And look at Stephen Hunter. He's made a charge all the way up into the 5th position. We've got a 5-car battle for the lead, and this race is not going to be over until the checkered flag drops as we're coming to the white flag this time.
There might have been a little bit of contact there. Porkins really sent it in outside, and we're going to see if the 59 can get him here. If they stay side by side for too long, the 26 is going to pull away with it, as he already is.
We are on the final lap of this race, and John Martin is loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror right now. He's got Porkins and Fitzwater side by side, and at the line, Fitzwater actually beat Porkins to the line for second. We'll see if that sticks. Actually, it has stuck. Fitzwater has passed Porkins for second place. Now, Fitzwater has about 3/4 of a lap to try and chase down John Martin. Otherwise, this is going to be career win number 1 for John Martin, and it will be a sweet one. Well earned.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. That the 59 car has not been able to pass the 26 all days. Rode behind him for a lot of the time while they were stuck behind Porkins. And this could be interesting. The 26. Oh, he's off the course.
But so is Fitzwater, and that's allowed Porkins to get side by side with him again. I think that sealed the deal for John Martin as they go down the straightaway. Fitzwater's got to focus on holding off Porkins. I don't think he can worry about trying to get John Martin. I think that Martin's got this race won by now as they go into the final set of corners for the final time. John Martin's got this, I think.
Yeah, he's just got to hold on to it coming through these final corners. Come on, buddy.
Final time through the final set of corners after so many races of heartbreak and waiting for so long. John Martin finally comes out the corner, and he's got his first career win, and it comes on the road course at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. What a well-deserved victory for the 26. Finally, his first series win is his.
Yeah, and what a fantastic race to do it. I mean, look at all those cars that ended up so close to each other in those final laps there. It's just That was fantastic in the end. I can't believe it.
Zachary Fitzwater managed to hold off Jack Porkins for second. Porkins will come home third. Still a solid running. I believe his first top 5 since Auto Club Speedway back in the second race of the season. As we see 24 across the line on the last place car. As we see Fitzwater second, Porkins third, Finguy fourth, Stephen Hunter solid finish in fifth position. Kyle Corbett dropped back to sixth at the end. Nick Ortiz had a very good car today, was seventh at the end. Jack Halleck in eighth, Seth Taylor in ninth position, and then at the very end, Ricky Freeman Jr. dropped to 10th at the finish. Well, this is quite an exciting race, and if we're going by tracks we're going to bring back next season, this is definitely made a strong case to make Canadian Tire one of them.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I'd love to see another race at this place. It never fails to disappoint in my book, and this is another example of a fantastic finish from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
And if you think this is exciting, we're going super speedway racing next time at the wonderful Riki Raceway in Vancouver. That is going to be a very exciting race. Cars going 225 miles per hour. As it appears, there's been a crash coming back to the start-finish line. It looks like Finguy crashed out.
Oh my.
Finguy crashed out on the way to the finish line. I guess if you're gonna crash, that's probably the good spot to do it after the race is over and you've already cemented a 4th place finish.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd. It looks like there's maybe a little bit of damage on the 91 car there, but yeah, I'm thrilled by that race. I'm so glad, and it is going to be fantastic at Riki Raceway. I'm so excited for that race, and yeah, this has been great.
So from Duke Antec and myself, we'll say goodbye for now. Congratulations to John Martin